Good morning to all of you. I welcome you all to the session which is Rooftop PV Revolution in India and in its impact on DISCOMs. And also we'll be discussing about the National Registry for DERs and smart inverters. Once again, welcome you all. Starting with, I'll share the roundtable discussions which we'll be having. But before that, I'll be doing a theme presentation just to showcase what National Solar Rooftop Registry we have developed from ISGF. So I'll just introduce all of you to the roundtable discussion chair, moderator, and the speakers. So we have with us Alok Kumar sir, former Secretary, Ministry of Power. I welcome you, sir. Thank you. Then the moderator for this session is Amit Singh Parihar, Director, Clean Power Program, Shakti Sustainable Energy Foundation. Welcome, sir. Then the speakers for this session are Narendra Nath Villuri, sir, who is CEO, Enert Kerala. Welcome, sir. Then we have with us Divyanshu Jha, sir, who is Deputy Secretary, MNRE. Welcome, sir. We have with us Nikhil PG, who is Deputy Director, Technical, NICE. Welcome, sir. We also have with us RJ Wala sir, who is Chief Engineer Projects, PGVCL. Welcome, sir. We have with us Mani Khurana ma'am, who is Senior Energy Specialist, World Bank. Welcome, ma'am. We also have with us Prosenjit Das sir, who is Deputy Manager Automation, NPCL, Noida Power Corporation Limited. Welcome, sir. So first I'll begin with the National Registry of Solar Rooftop, SRTPVs, which is developed by ISGF, India Smart Grid Forum, in support with Shakti Sustainable Energy Foundation and MNRE. Because without help of MNRE, PGVCL and Indore DISCOM, this won't have been possible. So taking you through the slides quickly. So as you all know that the India presently has this over 16 gigawatt of solar rooftops which are already connected to the grid. And also there are new upcoming with the PM Surya Ghar Yojana launched by our Prime Minister. So this the solar rooftop uptake will happen more quickly and more rapidly. So but the solar rooftop is bringing up more opportunities for the people, OEMs, and other DISCOMs, but the main issue is that we do not know where this SRTPV is placed, how is it placed, and the DISCOMs generally do not have a visibility that to which feeder, to which substation is it connected. So in order to get a generation data or something which is very useful for the DISCOMs to do generation, forecasting and all that, it will be a useful tool so that they can know that where are SRTPVs connected to which feeder, to which substation, so that they can plan their SRTPVs connection more efficiently. So in taking this forward, we had developed this national registry. And the main project outcomes out of this was that we have built a registry which is DISCOM-wise, substation-wise, feeder-wise, and that too consumer, DT-wise, which is giving you a detailed single line diagram showcasing from DISCOM to SRTPV that what is the in between joining the dots basically. So this was launched, this registry was launched at a distribution utility meet in 2024 by our Honorable Minister of Power, and he had launched this and had appreciated the registry, saying that this will now lead to more innovations in the form of DISCOMs. Basically, this will be useful for DISCOMs and the national portal, like for the ministries, central ministries, to take it forward for generation usage. So basically, we had different type of registries all over. We had been working on registries. Every organization had these registries. But the missing part was that it was not zone-wise, circle-wise, substation-wise, feeder-wise, DT-wise. So now we have developed it. You can see the green dots where we have joined these dots. And these dots are now taking us from the region, DISCOM, to the SRTPV capacity where the DT is also being mentioned. So I'm just showcasing the snapshots of the dashboard. This is the National Solar Registry's homepage, and this you can see the India map where only we have now, because we had done this pilot project with the support of Shakti. So we have only taken 2 DISCOMs, which is PGVCL from Gujarat, and MPKVCL from Indore. So we have only mentioned at the time being only these two. So we are now promoting other organizations, other DISCOMs also to please register themselves and upload the data on this registry so that they can, because we have kept a option for all the other DISCOMs to upload their historic data, which will be automatically coming up on this registry. So we are giving trainings to the DISCOMs so that they can promote, they can also get a visibility, and we'll show you how it is useful for the DISCOMs. So this is just a utility page where we have mentioned all the DISCOMs, and we have created a login page. So any DISCOM who wants to log in, they can log in, and we'll give the credentials to put their historic data into that. So this is a DISCOM login page which we have created. This is example, we have logged into PGVCL. So this, on the screen you can see that we have done it DISCOM, substation, subdivision, feeder, DT, prosumer. So the like icon with transmission line is the feeder, and you can see the green icon is the substation, and then the orange ones are the prosumers. So you can see that every DT, every substation is now connected to the prosumer. So this will give more clarity to the DISCOM, where is my concentration more, where is my concentration less for SRTPVs. This is a DISCOM detail, like we have also not only given a map, visual map, but also we have given data of location. We have tagged their latitude and longitude. So where is the DISCOM and what are the technical details of it? For example, what is the total PV capacity for that DISCOM? What is the total contract load, total solar installations? This is the DISCOM data. Then moving to the prosumer details, it will show that what is the prosumer name, city, pin code, and what is the PV capacity of that prosumer which is doing, what is the meter number, panel make, panel capacity. It is the prosumer wise data. Then we have feeder wise data also, in which we'll show like there are 5-6 prosumers connected to a feeder. So this will show the 5-6 prosumers total in this. So in that you will see total contract load, total number of installations. For example, this feeder which we had selected had two installations, and total PV capacity was 16 kilowatt. So you can select, we have given tabs where you can select the substation, you can select a feeder, you can select the city. So all type of permutation combination you can do, and the DISCOM can get details according to it. So likewise we have done it distribution feeder wise. Then you have substation details. Then also we have these are real-time analytics page where we are giving total number of RTS installations, total PV capacity, and total monthly RTS installation, DT capacity, monthly PV capacity. So there are a lot of analytics also in this, where you can use this for upgrading your SRTPV installations. This is a real-time analytics page where we are showing feeder-wise penetration of solar panels, and also like this, I can share that this is a very useful thing. Like every DISCOM has a concentration. Like for example, now with PM Surya Ghar Yojana, for example, you have to put a SRTPV, and you do not know that where is the maximum concentration and where you should allow more SRTPVs and where you should not, because every DT also has a capacity to take that amount of load. So this analytics will show you that which which DT has reached to its maximum capacity. For example, Gujarat or any other DISCOM they have told their people around them that you can use 80% or 90% of the DT capacity for SRTPVs. But when you reach around 60%, it will give you an alarm that you've already reached 60%. So if you want to put in your capacity to some other DT, you please go ahead for that. So this kind of visibility it gives, which is also useful for future, because it will give you you can also do better forecasting, generation and all that. Also, you can do your peak load management also. So this is a mapping which is substation to feeder to DT. So, and these orange ones you can see are all the prosumers which are mapped on that. These are some of the consultation meetings which we had done starting from January. This project started in January with the help of PGVCL. You can see in the first meeting we had conducted this meeting in support. We had called all the central bodies and asked them that what viewpoint they seek in this. And we also had consultations with AEMO, which is Australia. And interestingly, I must tell you that when we started this project, Australia told us that we have 500 data fields. And when they came down, they found that those were not relevant. They came down only to 47. And that they shared with us that you must also not complicate your registry as much. You should keep it limited to 50, 30 or 40. So we finally ended at data fields which we have incorporated in our registry to 29. So that was that amount of data fields we have kept, where all different type of data we have mentioned, which is including latitude, longitude, substation, is this connected to which feeder, which DT and all that. And also in future, like our Prime Minister is already promoting digitalization. So now we also should move ahead in that terms. We should also go toward digitalization and see that whenever we are giving an SRTPV connection, if we can capture the lat long of that, because that will give us more like specific details of that, and also we can capture the generation data also in future. Because yes, we have, but that system is little expensive right now, but we can make it easier. Like we have done, ISGF has done the first step. So the second step is that now we'll move to the generation data. So we have to now capture the generation data, and then we can, third step would be moving to smart inverters and all that. So we have to move step by step. First step is already done. Second step is now to capture generation data through this registry. So these are the consultation meetings which we had with MD, ma'am, PGVCL, then Indore, and we had signed an MOU with PGVCL. So capturing some of the movements, and thank you for patiently listening to me. Now I pass on the mic to Amit sir, and I'll welcome my dignitaries on the stage. So I welcome Alok sir, former Secretary MOP on the stage. He is chairing the session. Welcome sir. Then the moderator for this session is Amit Singh Parihar sir, who is Director, Clean Power Program, Shakti Sustainable Energy Foundation. Welcome, sir. Then we have Narendra Nath Villuri sir, who is CEO, Enert Kerala. Welcome, sir. I'll also welcome Divyanshu Jha sir, who is Deputy Secretary, MNRE. Welcome, sir. We have with us Nikhil sir, who is Deputy Director Technical, NICE. I welcome you on stage, sir. Now I'd like to welcome RJ Wala sir, who is Chief Engineer Projects, PGVCL. I welcome you, sir. I'd like to welcome Mani Khurana ma'am, who is Senior Energy Specialist, World Bank. I welcome you, ma'am, on this stage. Then I have with me Prosenjit Das, Deputy Manager Automation, NPCL. Welcome, sir. Now I'd like to hand over to Amit sir to take this forward. Thank you.
Thanks a lot, Disha. So, good morning, everyone, and welcome to this panel discussion. Given the credentials of the people on the dais and also in the room and the kind of contribution they had done in the past, they are currently doing, I feel both privileged and proud to be sharing the dais with all of them together. And therefore, I would like to thank ISGF for this great opportunity to learn. In terms of the current session, whenever we talk about energy transition, we often hear that debate around whether we should go for utility scale or DRE kind of thing. I feel this is not an either or approach. Wherever we are able to kind of advance, we should, because we've got a huge target around this. And if we consider some of the challenges, particularly those challenges which are beyond our control, resource-related challenges, and that is where we'll see that some of the DRE technologies are going to provide you certain advantages around that. And rooftop is certainly one of them. And in terms of scaling the rooftop, it's primarily a function of three things. One is the opportunity. There are different estimates, but even if we have to take some conservative estimates, we are talking about somewhere close to 80 gigawatt or 100 gigawatt from residential segment and other segments as well. In terms of intent, very clear. Recently, we have this scheme, which is kind of PM Surgar Muft Bijli Yojana, which is aiming to kind of have solar rooftop installation on 1 million households. So the intent is there. But when we are kind of aiming for such big things, obviously we are going to have few of the challenges. And we need to kind of overcome some of these challenges to tap that opportunity. The good thing is, in addition to challenges, we have been also able to kind of innovate and find solutions. This is one example what Disha presented, like the registry thing. So in this session, what we are going to do is, we are going to discuss few of the challenges, what could be the potential interventions, what are the opportunities, and how we can scale up. But before I get into specific questions with panel members, I would request Alok sir for his initial remarks and setting his expectation from this panel discussions. Over to you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Is it audible? Yeah. So let me first congratulate ISDF for convening this distinguished panel, and which has very strong representation from various stakeholders. This topic is also very important and very relevant. Say, I'll start from the beginning. We are promoting our renewable energy because primarily we believe in using local resources for energy security. My view has been that decarbonization is a secondary benefit to the country, because for a country like India, which has a lot of development expectation and aspiration, and say the level of incomes and historical responsibility, the solar is our main renewable energy resource. We are promoting it. Now, the question is, if you have to promote solar, to what extent and what cost? So this is a very widely debated topic, that integration of renewable energy has a lot of indirect costs for different stakeholders, and ultimately everything passes into the consumer. And affordability for consumer for electricity is a very important issue for India. So when we have large size solar parks, which have economies of scale, which can give you cheaper solar energy, why should we promote the DRE like solar rooftop? There are several benefits which we are told, very difficult to quantify, of course. First, people say, and I still believe, but it is not true in all situations, that it is a cheaper energy for distribution for the utility. Is it correctly? Let me give an example. For states which are sitting near the coal pit head, like West Bengal or Chhattisgarh or Jharkhand or UP for that matter, their variable cost of generation is less than 2 rupees. And if you generate solar rooftop, I'm told it's cost around 4 rupees a unit. Should they promote? Why they should promote? So the other benefits, we are told that it provides a lot of job opportunities, because distributed renewable energy has a lot of job, so there are positive externalities, and also empowering communities. So when you talk of power systems, power sector, and you take the economies of scale, the optional variable cost, and the cost which promotes the jobs and the community empowerment, there is a clear case for government subsidies, because we are trying to achieve some objectives which lie beyond power sector. So in that context, I understand the subsidies for this solar rooftop program is a very welcome step, and it is now taking off. But this is just the beginning. There are issues of there are 3 aspects more if you go deeper in the solar rooftop. One is the supply side, another is demand side, and third is the DISCOM side. There are 3 aspects. Supply side, when you expand a program like solar rooftop, I am told the per day installations is around 2,200 currently in the country. But if you want to achieve this, the targets for this new scheme, you need to ramp up to something around 12,000 per day. So supply is also a constraint when you expand a program. So what can be done to expand that supply? The vendors, your materials, your skilled manpower. So those are the things. And now come to the, so those are the aspects which are important. Come to the demand side. So on supply side, let us find out what can be done to ease out the supply side, we can expand. There is a demand which we are not able to meet currently. But is the demand adequate? No. If you see the flow of applications and the type of awareness, demand for solar rooftop comes from where? It is linked to the cost of generation versus tariff for that consumer. So there is huge demand from C&I. But do we want to do that on a large scale under net metering? No. It is not desirable for so many reasons. So Government of India has done a very good step that it has withdrawn the subsidy from C&I consumers. It's already profitable. There are issues. So we have moved to the demand for small households. Smaller households have a lot of issues. Are they bankable? Nobody wants to give them loan because enforcing a contract is very easy for larger company or larger corporates. But so the amount of loan flowing to the households is, you see the number of applications very low. The awareness and demand is also linked to again the same issue, the cost of generation versus tariff. If you are giving free power to the consumers, why should they take loan and set up a rooftop? So whole economics boils down to the demand from the segment which is desirable for the power system, for the DISCOM, is still to be strengthened. We need to raise awareness. We need to make it bankable for the ordinary household and also see that this free power business is taken care of. Otherwise, the remaining incentive for taking loan for this, they will not come forward. Now come to the DISCOM side. I am putting the different dimensions as I see. DISCOM side is they are a utility. So what they do or not do, everything will come to the pool of consumers. So there are 2-3 things. First, let me congratulate ISGF for coming out with this important initiative of National Registry, because my view is that this will help DISCOMs to bring down the cost of RE integration. They can plan better and they can plan their network expansion better. It's a very good step. Similarly, the other thing is smart inverter they are taking is a very good step. But if you see DISCOM has 2 dilemmas, 2 main issues to be addressed. First is this cross subsidy. And let me tell you, cross subsidy is a double-edged weapon. If there is no cross subsidy, it will not, the solar generation will look much less attractive to C&I consumers. So cross subsidy is a driver also for this solar rooftop, and it is also a barrier. So DISCOM has to balance it, and here comes the regulation. So this whole issue of net metering, net billing, gross metering, and the cost of alternative power, we have to see that the gains, if there are, because you can increase the gains through subsidies. The gains, if there are for the consumer, are to be shared with the larger pool of consumers and the individual consumers. That is the whole debate about rooftop. So regulator has to do a very fine balancing that the gains should be there, otherwise no consumer will come. There is a demand aspect. So the gains have to be shared. So I think there is a case for moving from this net metering to maybe net billing or gross metering. That's an important issue. Other thing is what is the real cost for the utility. One is the cross subsidy is one aspect, but other costs are the cost of integration. Going forward, if you are going to add 30 gigawatt in the power system, and you can see the lower prices in the power markets during the day, the DISCOM can buy power from exchange at 2 rupees. Why they should promote solar rooftop. So we have to do several things, that we have to shift demand to solar so that it is consumed most. If demand is sustained in solar hours, it will give a boost to solar rooftop. What can we do to boost this demand in the solar hours? We have to go for smart metering, and so that we can implement time of day tariffs. Other integration costs. If you can boost demand to that extent, is good. because you don't need storage. But moment you need storage, then there are other economics issues, technical issues, having those storages so distributed. So we must, I think the issue is that we must deliberate both the economic issues, technical issues, and financial issues, how to promote, why to promote. I think we should promote because it enhances energy security, it creates job, and in many circumstances like Gujarat, it also reduces the cost of power because they have to transport coal. So it's good. Now, if you have to do, there are 3-4 critical things we should debate. One is how to address the supply side constraints. Then how to increase demand through, say, this reducing free power thing, and also more awareness, bankability. And the third also aspect is very, very important is the technical aspects, the quality of power in the grid, how to monitor them, because DISCOMs will find very difficult to invest for DT upgradation. For the demand assessment will be very, very difficult because you don't know how much they will consume, the consumers. We are handling resource adequacy in several states. Demand assessment is a nightmare if you have a large penetration of solar rooftop. How can you plan your power procurements? So the technical capabilities of the DISCOMs to reduce the cost of RE integration will be a major driver for promoting rooftop. I'll stop at this point. There will be several occasions. And I'm again very happy to be with this panel. And I look forward to the suggestions and intervention from my co-panelists so that when we close this session, we have some better understanding, better clarity. Thank you, Homer. Thank you very much.
Thanks a lot, sir, for clearly kind of justifying the role of DRE, and then most importantly, the three things, the three challenges on the supply side, demand side, and aspect related to DISCOMs. One of the important point which you highlighted was this role of demand side management or demand flexibility, and particularly the TOD tariffs, sir. We'll try to kind of have some of the discussions around these points, sir, and for that I'll first go to Divyanshu sir from MNRE, and thanks a lot for being so consultative in overall approach, sir. I know MNRE is leading the effort on the PM Surya scheme, and we have started seeing the momentum as well. But overall, what are the broad set of challenges you still feel like which we collectively need to kind of deal with some of these challenges? So if you can highlight, that would be great. And when you're talking about challenges, certainly there is certain amount of opportunity. So if you can also highlight that, that would be great, sir.
Sure. Thank you, Amit. The ministry has come a long way in the last 1 year, learning from the experience of implementing this program at scale. And I think the central ethos or the central principle of the whole program till now has been that is not just to look at solar or rooftop solar as one of the additional components of energy security, but also to unlock the market, right? So this has been a fairly locked up market for several reasons, including the manner in which, what the government role used to be in terms of how residential solar used to take off. The design of the system itself has tried to see how we can unlock this for the residential segment. In terms of the key and the uptake that has happened in terms of the last 1 year, and we have figures of installation that are higher than what we have done in the last 10 years, of course helped by the fact that module costs have been low, but also because of the fact that a lot of new energy has come into the market, a lot of new vendors, new business models, new products, and a lot of differentiated products that have come into the market. And that has led to a major jump. But as sir also mentioned, the ambition to scale up from around 2,000 to 3,000 installations per day to 12,000 installations per day requires a fresh set of unlocking measures, which the ministry is currently working on, but which requires again a close coordination with the states and the regulators themselves. So, I'll just speak about how are we planning to go from 2,000 to 12,000 a day scenario. So number one is of course that a lot of deregulation or has happened at the state DISCOM level in terms of certain procedural waivers. But as any lived experience of any consumer on the ground would say, even today, installing a rooftop solar is not easy. And although a lot of it has been outsourced to vendors, but even then the steps still are pretty complicated. I mean, as a layman, it is almost impossible to maneuver the labyrinths of a DISCOM office. So we are basically closely working with states to track consumer journeys across various DISCOMs to the extent of whether there is name changes, load changes. There are additional portals at state level where they still insist on having a separate application. Of course, with very good justification. I'm not denying that, but still, the consumer journey of having net meter agreement signing, net meter installation, net meter testing, right? So, and every interaction with any entity, given that most of these DISCOMs are state-owned, there is a lot of friction between the consumer or vendor and the DISCOM, right? So, we are working closely with states, and a lot of states have taken a lead. Gujarat, Rajasthan, Maharashtra, for example, have done amazing work in terms of making sure that the consumer experience is good, right? So the residential segment we feel is something that has to be unlocked. Like the subsidy is great, of course, but I think the fundamental point is to have let the markets really work out and play out, right? So and every single measure that we take in terms of simplifying this leads to a quantum jump in terms of the ease of installation, and again the ease of conversion of interest into an actual installation. The second element that we're looking at is, of course, the financial issue. The upfront cost that a consumer bears is of course a major impediment, and we have worked very extensively with Department of Financial Services to streamline the process for the bank loan process as well, right? So these are very small ticket size. Traditionally, banks are not very great at doing small ticket size loans, but we have worked out a product with collateral free and completely digital product which has been launched with SBI, I think, and which will expand to other banks as well, right? So once that interaction becomes smoother, and once on-ground coordination between vendors and banks happen, so then we foresee another delta shift in terms of the number of uptake that is happening, because the current, and that will unlock a pretty large number, because that gap will basically mean that the upfront burden on a consumer drops from 1.5 lakh rupees to maybe 10 to 15,000 rupees, right? So that will unlock a very large segment, and then we'll get a fresh number of people who will come in and do this. The third thing that is slightly further ahead is in terms of unlocking the lower income strata, right? So the third element is, so my sense is that we will hit some kind of plateau at around 30-40 lakh, right? And this is the personal opinion, but the rooftop solar adoption currently is driven in the higher income and the middle income segment, and the lower income segment is largely does not come because of higher costs, lower tariffs, almost free electricity, right? So there is no uptake there. But one of the models that we are working on is in utility-led aggregation models, where then the utility is basically interested in putting rooftop solar on these households so that they are able to convert their long-term subsidy burdens into a one-time kind of infrastructure support, which basically gives them a decent returns. In around 3 to 5 years, they are able to pay back the load that they might take. So this is one of the models that I think maybe my friend from Kerala would be speaking a bit more on. But this is the model that we feel will unlock another large segment of people for whom rooftop is too far away or too distant, right? So we are quite ambitious about this. I mean, it's been 1 year. We have done decent numbers, and we hope that there will be an exponential ramp up this year as well.
Thanks a lot, sir, for highlighting the overall approach around this. Two important points on this in terms of the overall approach, the idea around enabling the market or strengthening the ecosystem, because that is something which can lead to large scale adoption of these things. And in terms of the specific interventions, I think there are three things around consumer awareness, financing, but the most important is the third piece, where we are talking about also creating some of the socio-economic benefits, because I feel when we talk about energy transition, there are few changes which are bound to happen in the ecosystem. And if we are able to create a win-win for all the stakeholders, that is where we are talking about the real transition. And then we can also talk about large scale adoption. This is one of the case. And with this, what I'll do is I'll go to Velluri ji from Kerala, and basically I wanted to request you to kind of highlight some of the aspects or challenges related to rooftop adoption at state level, because when it comes to implementation, it's the states which will have to lead. So if you can highlight some of the challenges plus opportunities, that would be great.
For the state of Kerala, there is no land availability, as sir has pointed out. So when the large-scale solar park gives you cheaper power, so why to opt for decentralized renewable energy? So that was the biggest challenge that we had, and the decentralized renewable energy is the opportunity that the Kerala state has unlocked. So it was just 3 years now. Rooftop solar has started penetrating in Kerala. And Kerala, as it's a literate state, so it was pushed upon by the DISCOM and the government by the people. People have forced us to change. So there was huge interest because of the environment consciousness of the literate people. So they wanted to adopt solar, and they have pressurized government so that we wanted to install solar rooftop. So it was when the DISCOM was awarded, first when the DISCOM started installing 3 years, 4 years back, and when the first allotment of 200 megawatt was given. So there were hardly 7 vendors, out of which only 4 vendors were doing, and it was very, very poor installation. There were huge pendency of around 70,000 applications. So that was when it started coming in newspapers. They have formed an association of this backlog, and all people have started pressurizing government. So then there was discussion, and we have again gone for a retender, and then we have got 40 more vendors, 33 more vendors. And that was when in 1 year, it was about to close. So in 1.5 year, 150 megawatt was installed. So, and we did, the entire ecosystem was done. So, Anert, as on our part, so we have done the training for the electricians. We have almost trained in 6 months' time 4,500 electricians across the state. Then DISCOM also, they have given targets at the circle level, and also that achieved. And that is how the performance has now translated in PM Suryagar. So after Gujarat, we are now from application to conversion ratio, Kerala is now second. So just because that ecosystem was already created just a year back. That is how these opportunities were led, and still there is huge demand in Kerala. But from the DISCOM side, there are definitely issues, because right now the DISCOM is facing daytime power surrender. So daytime power surrender. So how do we address that issue is the biggest challenge that we are going to face. And night time, because we are a consumer state, we don't have heavy industries to consume power. So night time there is huge requirement of power during the peak from 6 to 11. So whether BESS will address that issue, so to what extent that will address. So all these are the challenges that are now coming. But still, so as is happening, you cannot stop the sun with your bare hands. So that is what is now the thing happening, because the technology is developing. So when I joined this organization, it was we are talking about polycrystalline panels with 17% efficiency. So now we are talking about TOPCon with 23% efficiency, and the prices have come down. And China has already started integrating the perovskite crystals into the panels with 43% efficiency. That means the prices are going to come to rock bottom. So that means the technology is available, and people will start doing it. So we cannot stop that. So we can only think about how to face this challenge straight away, because we know that this is going to happen. So that is the way that the DISCOMs have to go about, and maybe we need to think fresh on how to address these challenges.
Sure. Maybe if you can also talk about this, what Divanshu sir mentioned, like unlocking the lower strata of this thing. So that will be great, because you were one of the pioneers.
Yes. So of course, coming from a left rule state, so we were always of the opinion that the subsidies generally for the past 75 years we see. So only the advantaged sections use these subsidies, and the poor remain poor. So that was where, when our minister was always pushing that why don't we utilize this for addressing the BPL families, so that we can address this cross subsidy issue. So we started, then the problem is the availability of rooftop, because we had an extensive feasibility survey done, because it was all the old government houses which the tiled roofs, so which cannot sustain this rooftop solution. So then we started this PMAY houses, so the newly constructed houses. And now we have done almost 2,500 houses. We have installed 2 kilowatt and 3 kilowatt systems. And so we didn't want to do it as a single thing, like only install rooftop and forget. So we started giving them induction stove also. The first 750 houses we have done. So we have targeted the extremely poor people, single widows, AIDS patients, then the mothers, single mothers, so some kind of categories like that. And the results have been extremely good. Means so like one district we had some around 400 connections. So the highest saving was 7,800 rupees by exporting power to grid. So people were raising the issue. So if you start giving them solar, so they'll be adding more appliances, so there won't be any benefit. So we were also discussing in the morning. But actually they were already enjoying power free of cost. So if they would have added appliances, they would have been reckless during the initial stage also. Just not by adding solar, they won't become reckless. So, and that was shown with the amount that was generated. And we didn't calculate the amount of benefit that they are getting based on the savings on the cost of gas. But during the first year when we installed, so they did not utilize this induction roof cooktop, because they require special utensils. They were not in a position to. So now we are giving them 4 utensils, and we are now tied up with Renew Power. So with an RMS system integrated, and Renew will be supplying to whatever houses we'll be doing, and they'll be selling the carbon credits. And so now we are now planning for 1 lakh houses. We have 5.6 lakh houses. Out of that, the PMAY houses are now 3.5 lakh. So the first year target is to at least address 1 lakh houses under this scheme. Similar thing we are doing with the PM Kusum also. So there also, again, we don't have land for feeder level solarization. So there also we are targeting the less than 5 acre farmers who are enjoying free electricity. So both cases, it is utility aggregation, but both cases we are not expecting any contribution from the farmer or the individual beneficiary, and the state is itself bearing that burden. So the idea is the average cost of supply is like around 7.5 rupee, and the rate at which they are supplying power is 2 rupee 30 paise for this agriculture connection, and 50 paise for this BPL households. So that 5 rupees, 7 rupees loss that the DISCOM is bearing will be overcome. And so that money, if we are taking for 7-8 years, we can repay the loan. So that is how we are working for both these schemes.
Thanks a lot, sir. First, for highlighting the important challenge around this synergy between daytime generation and evening peak. Alok sir has indicated some of the solutions around that, but we'll discuss more on that. But most importantly, highlighting the success story around this BPL thing, because these are the ways in which maybe we can make this whole energy transition an inclusive transition. So thanks a lot for highlighting that. Now moving on, I'll go to Mani, and she's from World Bank, and World Bank has been actively instrumental in accelerating rooftop adoption. I think through their flagship initiative, it's called Suprava. So Mani, I'll request you to kind of highlight some of the learnings from that previous program, which can be kind of taken forward in order to make the current one successful. And I know because you'll have to leave, if you can also highlight, this financing continues to remain one of the challenge around this. So what is that we can do around this? What are the plans, or any initiative which you are planning to have from World Bank side of it? Thank you.
Thank you so much for the question. It's a pleasure to be here today. So let me start with the previous program first, just to lay the background. So when we started, World Bank got engaged with MNRE on solar rooftop. It was way back in 2016. And as Mr. Alok Kumar rightly said, it only made sense for CNI to do solar rooftop at that time. The prices were high of solar. And it was a new technology. People didn't really know if solar rooftop as a technology would work. And at that time, obviously, the awareness was low, technology was new, and therefore leading to a very high rate of interest from the banks to lend for solar rooftop. So at that point of time, we actually lent to State Bank of India, and we asked State Bank of India started giving concessional loans from the World Bank kitty. But, you know, we also did realize it was not, thank you, it was not only about the financing. Financing was one aspect. Obviously, you get the cost of, funding down, it helps. But it was the entire ecosystem that we all have been talking about. So one thing is this residential solar rooftop, in a way, will benefit from what was done in CNI, at least when it comes to the distribution level. Because at that time, with the new technology, solar rooftop, the training was, you really had to train each and every person. And so I think because they were trained at that time, there were a lot of CNI installations which happened. And as the prices fell, there was no use for subsidy or support anymore. That project ended. But what did happen was that it's not something new now. It may be new for residential, for understanding how to put it, and as very rightly pointed out in the conversation out here also, whether it makes sense for a residential consumer to put it. If you're already receiving free power, then what is the incentive? Until unless you're really environmentally conscious, why would you do that? So, but then again, frankly, we don't have to, really get there right now. I think for starters, there's a huge number of households who for them, it makes sense. So it is all about, what we famously call the S-curve. You basically make sure that you take the low-hanging fruits first, you make it available for them, and see what happens, and the others will follow. The business models that we were discussing, the utility-led models, they will play a very crucial part to coming for that hard-to-reach segments. And that is the only answer. You will not be able to get them as an individual out there. You will need those models, and there needs to be a lot of work to be done out there, I feel. That is one piece of the puzzle which is still missing, because one size cannot fit all for all our states in that. Each and every solution out there would have to be looked at. And that is where World Bank proposes to work now. So our, we are not calling it low-income household, we're calling it low-consumption households, because, it's important to understand, till now, majority of the connections have happened for 3 kilowatt and above. So, we have to understand that better. So just closing the loop on the first project, so that was a very successful project. CNI took off, that project ended, but helped building the ecosystem. And the clear learning from that was capacity building, as much training as you can give. Awareness creation, ads always help. Hearing from people who've installed it in their house, the experience they went through to get the connection really helps. And the process streamlining, working with every distribution company. So we actually had currently we have another project with SBI where we are lending to residential solar rooftop consumers through SBI. So again, it's a similar model. And SBI is giving it at 7%, which has been, which is under the Surya Ghar scheme. Now, the question out there remains, how do you make it less onerous for a person to go to a SBI than to, one of the other private players? What we've basically heard, there are two problems coming up. First, we have the number of site visits, the number of time the consumer has to go to the bank, that has to be reduced. So we are trying to work with SBI on that. So hopefully that can happen. Secondly, what we are also hearing is that on the supply side, which was brought up by Mr. Alokamar earlier, also because the solar rooftop panels are now being used by Kusum, domestic content, it's being used for this. There is a lack of supply out there. that is coming up. So if we have to meet our target, there's something has to be done on that. And that, I'm happy to hear some suggestions on that, what can be done out there. That needs to be addressed. We are also proposing to, partner with MNRI going forward, but that is something which is proposed, and we will see what it happens. But at least through our solar rooftop engagement with SPI for the residential sector, the idea is to keep working on the ecosystem, keep doing these stakeholder consultations and finding out where the constraint lines, and then giving whatever support that can be given for that. So apart from financing, it's all about the ecosystem, what it's coming to now.
Thanks a lot for emphasizing on this aspect around ecosystem. Completely agree with you. And also highlighting one of the important point around capacity building, because that is one area where we need to kind of work a lot. In addition to this, the bigger piece around demand aggregation and business models. So now I'll move to DISCOM level, and I'll request Balaji from PGVCL, if you can highlight some of the challenges which you are facing at DISCOM level in terms of rooftop adoption. That's number one. Number two, if you can also talk about some of the challenges when you started doing this work on the rooftop registry, and how other DISCOMs or other states can kind of take this forward. So some guidance around that would be great. Over to you.
So before I start, just I ask support staff to play the video of PGVCL. A small video, PGVCL video. Talchani, just help me. Okay. This is the scene of sky view of the Rajkot city. This is drone photography we captured in the last monsoon. At present, the terrace which are blank without solar panels are now filled up totally. These are common housing facilities on the apartment side. So 5.061 gigawatt, 9.10 lakhs consumers, 60% is residential, and 30% overall contribution from Gujarat to the country. So we started our journey way back in 2014. At that time, the Renewable Development Agency was doing this work. Then after state government decided to hand over this work to the distribution utility. So in 2020, we took over as a juvenile and our DISCOMs, Port State our DISCOM and Torrent company, private DISCOMs, we took over this work to juvenile level. Then our success basically depends on 4 pillars. So first is you have to have large number of vendor base. So when we started, our vendor base was only 400, and at present it is 1400. So we actually focused on bringing new entrepreneurs in the channels. We carried out many vendor development programs. We given training to their skilled manpower also. Second, consumers' participation. So we did all modes of IC activities, outreach activities, on-ground campaign, Gram Sabha, village meeting, society meeting, town hall, everything, whatever, and this our best practice circulated by MNRE to all the states. The third pillar is you have to have the online portal, because we envisage the large numbers of applications will come. So it is impossible task to, handle manually this application. So we developed the fully digitized India's first integrated portal in which right from application to subsidy disbursement, everything, including inspection of the panels, VDI, all these things we integrated in the digitized portal. And the important pillar is disbursement of the subsidy. So without waiting for the central subsidy to come to DISCOMs, we disburse subsidy from our DISCOM's own fund to the vendor. Because if they not get the subsidy, they will not do another installation. So to maintain their liquidity, we have to give their whatever expenses within 1 month period only. So also at that time, the state government given us the 800 crore corpus fund. So these were the 4 pillars. Then after the system was institutionalized, the Das sir actually asked me that, वाला जी आपका कुछ अभी मैसेज नहीं आ रहा है ग्रुप में, आप क्या कर रहे हो? तो मैंने सिस्टम बना दिया, मुझे कुछ करने की ज़रूरत ही नहीं है अभी, सिस्टम अपने आप चल रही है. So then after the PM Surya Ghar Yojana came, so at that time actually the secretary sir told me that you meet to this planning commission, Niti Aayog. So I told my experience. Then when the Prime Minister sir has on 13th of February, they announced this scheme. So I immediately bring all the vendors of the Gujarat in one of the big auditorium, and I asked them the 2 things. At present, whatever the employee base you have, you make it 4 times, on 4-fold. आपके पास 100 आदमी है तो आप 400 कर दो. And whatever the capacity you have installed per month or per annum, let's say 1 megawatt, तो आपको 4 करनी है. मतलब आपका टारगेट आप दिमाग में रख के चले कि आपको डबल नहीं, ट्रबल नहीं, मतलब आपको 4 times, at least you have to do work 4 times. This mammoth will come in near future. So the vendor were excited and they all, they increased their capacity. So because of the vendors only, we have achieved this much target. Then we have continued our IC activities and outreach activity. Even in the last December, we have campaign, and our junior engineers also went door to door. So these are the, we have not faced any challenges basically for these rooftops. And in PGVCL, I am from PGVCL, I am also looking after the whole Gujarat. So 5 gigawatt total capacity, 9 lakhs of customers. In PGVCL, 1.4 gigawatt. Every day in PGVCL, we are installing 250 rooftops every day. Near to 1 megawatt every day we are installing without doing any more efforts. That's all. And the second question was regarding this National Solar Registry. Now you see this mammoth installation is coming. So we have to augment our distribution network. So when ISUW came to us and made me that, okay, then this is the very important task, and we should work on this because this is the future only. Because I have to not only augment my network, but this will impact on my forecasting, my daily power requirement. So at present, sir, we have augmented 4,000 numbers of DTs in within 3-2 months. 4,000 distribution transformers we augmented because of this rooftop penetration. So we have allowing 100% rooftops. One side is 100% load side, and the solar capacity is also 100%. So we are allowing. So whenever our solar capacity reaches to 80%, we ask our field engineers to augment this distribution transformer. Let's say 100 kVA to 200 kVA. So 4,000, and our aim to increase up to the 8,000 within April months. And because of increasing temperature, every household are now buying ACs. If they have 1 AC, they will buy 2. And they don't have AC, they buy 1 AC. So AC's load are increasing. Because of rooftop, their material life is increasing. So basically, the demand is increasing, so rooftops is actually meeting our power demand. Also, sir, we have large industrial development, so we have to buy extra power to meet our demand. And the rooftop is actually giving us this extra power. So in summer season, we don't want to buy any extra power as a high cost, 10 rupees, but we are buying this power from only rupees 2 rupees and 25 paisa. ₹2.25 रुपये में हम लोग same our power requirement we are meeting through this rooftop. Because the USP of this Gujarat model is you can install rooftop of any capacity you desire, irrespective of your existing contracted load. अगर आपके पास 1 किलोवाट का लोड है तो ऐसा ज़रूरी नहीं कि आप 1 ही किलोवाट इंस्टॉल करें. You can install 500 kilowatt, whatever you want. So ultimately I am buying this extra power at a very cheap cost. Okay, so there is एक सिक्के की दो बाजू है. One side some DISCOMs are thinking that they are losing their high revenue customer. But on the other side, if you think, you are actually buying cheaper power during your peak season. And regarding this National Registry, actually it helps us, and we are informed ISGF to convert all our 9 lakh customer into the ISGF registry, and it will link to the National Solar Rooftop Portal 2.0. It should be, linked with, in order to get the incoming installation directly merged with the solar registry. And we will also link to our ALDC, Area Load Dispatch Center, to forecast. It is not required to, calculate the real-time generation, but if you have the data that how much capacity is installed particular DT or feeder, you can assess the generation based on some few locations, and you can forecast or predict the day-ahead generation. So it will help to, make our forecast precisely. That's all. Thank you.
Thanks a lot for, I would say, setting the bar high for other states to kind of replicate, but also sharing some of the success mantras जो आपने 3-4 चीजें बताई related to that, and most importantly the point around the perception, like few of the DISCOMs will see this as a loss proposition, whereas you see this is as a kind of win proposition. So thanks a lot for highlighting that.
Actually, एक बात मैं कहना भूल गया. Because of this large penetration of the rooftop, we are facing some issues for the grid integrations.
So I will come to that in the second round. Yeah. Thanks a lot. Now I'll go to Prasanjit ji from Noida Power Corporation Limited, and you have also been kind of doing some of the innovative stuff around rooftop. So I would request you to talk about that in terms of innovations around peer-to-peer trading. But before that, if you would like to highlight any specific challenge which you are facing as a DISCOM, so yeah, over to you.
Yeah, thanks.
You can take this.
Thanks, Amit, and thanks ISGF for organizing this very impactful discussion. As a Noida Power company, we are the small distribution company in the Greater Noida, and we have a mixed load, mainly the C&I segment load and multi-story building load. And there is a challenge as of now we are not facing. But yes, after PM Surya Ghar launch by the government of India, we have seen a 40% growth in the RTS installation. And for the IC activity and for the promotional activity, we have recently launched P2P trading for the prosumers, so that prosumers actually in the last month record, 47% of PM Surya Ghar consumers are getting zero bill in 1 month. So we are giving them benefit, and we are promotionalized to other consumers also, so that the prosumers can sell their power to other consumers without intervening any middleman. And by that way, I think rooftop solar penetration will be increased in the Greater Noida area, and group housing societies also come up with the common services facility, and they will also interested for the participating in the P2P. So yes, this is a new launch. We are showcasing this P2P in our booth also in ISGM. So everyone is welcome to our booth to showing this. This is from my side.
Thank you, Prasanjit ji. And now I'll go to Dr. Nikhil from NICE. And precisely, I think Mani has already set the context when she spoke about strengthening the ecosystem in terms of supply side of it and some of our manufacturing capabilities. So, Dr. Nikhil, if you can highlight some of the work which you have been doing, or how do you plan to kind of address this challenge?
Hello. Good morning, everyone. Thank you, ISGF, for this beautiful panel discussion. National Institute of Solar Energy is an autonomous institute under Ministry of New and Renewable Energy. We are primarily focused in research development, testing and calibrations, skill development, and there are a lot of technical consultation activities, pilot demonstrations in our campus. Basically, we provide all kind of institutional supports, both to ministry and other state departments and industries as well. From perspective of the new areas in work areas, what we involve is basically on the we have a PV module department which focus on like studying on the bifaciality aspects, the BIPV modules. Like there are new technologies evolving. We are also working on floating solar technologies, microgrids, and also we are working on recycling aspects of modules as well. Specific to the Suryagar, this thing, we are a scheme implementing agency for the innovative product component where if there are like startups or industries who want to do some pilot projects, especially as sir was mentioning about the peer-to-peer or any smart materials or any new applications, so we are coordinating that. And apart from that, we are also supporting the technical testing aspects when the enlistment of PV modules and inverters are happening under PM Suryagar. Based on the sampling, this thing. And the third is the skill development aspects. We have a dedicated program on Suryamitra where the strong workforce have been built up. I think it has been running for the last 7 years. Almost 50,000 Suryamitras have been trained, and that is at the working level, like installation and commissioning, or even the maintenance level have been trained. And there are still targets ongoing, and trainings are also ongoing. And this is happening all over the country, so that like solar is decentralized, the workforce is also available at every districts and corners of this country. Apart from that, I want to add a certain perspective from myself as a user of this technology, because rather than a technology interest, I put my first solar in 2012 under MNRE. There was an off-grid scheme. So everybody was asking like, why do you put? I put through ANET only. It took around 6 years in 2018 when we had a flood. All the neighbors started appreciating, okay, we have a off-grid where we can go and charge the mobile phones. Now I put a on-grid solar also. So from the perspective of a user, I would say a couple of things user look is, one is the cost effectiveness, more efficient. That means higher energy generation at a lower cost. So to improve the efficiency, of course, technology conversions are important. As sir was mentioning, we have more high efficient technologies coming up. We have TOPCons coming up. We have the thin film modules on the costly, even though they are cheaper. But from a LCOE perspective, that may sound sometimes more viable. And from the perspective of cost, I think we should be not only looking at the capital cost, we should also be looking at a long-term cost, because the grid cost will also go up at a certain time over a period. So from that perspective, over a period of 20 years, whether it is going to be viable. So I was looking in that perspective. And second, as sir was mentioning, not only the lower consumption, but I've been transitioning myself, like I purchased a new electric vehicle so that I can charge from the solar. And we are also shifting from the LPG buys to the electrical cooking. So even all my neighbors are doing that. So people have a shift. When they start doing it, they find themselves a way out of it. So that is one thing. Second important aspect is when we calculate cost from our experience, because we have been involved in a lot of field testing and evaluations of a lot of solar plants, especially for government sectors. We have seen that 20 years of operation, the qualitative performance of this system is very, very important aspect, because only when it generates, we can talk about a cost is viable at that point. And the expected generation is happening, whether it is at the rate, it is, we are evaluating and we can see a lot of deviations. And it is very important that the quality need to be, quality aspect should be always an important aspect in these installations. And from the perspective, I think Alok sir was mentioning it very clearly, like data is very key component. During the integration of this thing, the power quality aspect is very, very important. We have also tested a lot of power quality aspects. So from the voltage, the frequency, the reactive power components, as we have more distributed generation in the grid, it is going to have the impact on the grid resilience. So we are also started some studies on the grid resilience aspects when we have more penetrations at the distribution level. I think the new tool which Madam was showcasing on the registry, probably this will help us in some way in our studies. And I would suggest like we can add these data also in future, like when we integrate from the qualitative perspective, like power quality aspects, voltage imbalances, and the quantitative like the load flow aspects. If it could be put up, I think that will help the DISCOMs as well to plan for the key expansion of their grids. And one more additional point, I think sir has already mentioned the peer-to-peer trading. Probably that is, we are looking at in future, is there an option for even as a user, me, like I can trade my energy to some other. So blockchain technologies are evolving. So if such technologies are evolving and bring up some kind of a tool, a digital interface where user to user can communicate and sell their energy, I think most of this demand supply can be taken care of there. Thank you.
So thanks a lot for first highlighting the kind of work you have been doing at NICE, and also kind of highlighting some of the innovative concepts around this. And that is where I'll again go back to Divyanshu sir. So sir, the scale at which we are kind of aiming for, certainly innovation is going to be very, very critical. Now innovation could be in the form of technology, business model. So what is your opinion on this, and what kind of initiatives ministry has taken to advance this large scale adoption? And if you can also, if you'd like to talk anything about the registry thing, because MNRE is kind of considering this. So, yeah.
Right. So, couple of things. I mean, one of my earlier interest in this whole segment has been on whether, and in fact, a very recent conversation also came in the papers of Nandan Nilekani speaking about energy as being the new DPI. So, and this is also one of the conversations that I had with ISGF when they first came to me with this proposal, and I said, so one of the things that we don't have, or we have with very varying levels of efficacy, is the concept of a digital twin for the distribution grid. Now, at the central level, you have decent visibility from Grid India has built over a period of years to have good visibility on all aspects of the grid systems, and they have a very good, I mean, dashboard where they are able to have monitor and track their whole network. The presence of a similar digital twin at the distribution level is lacking in most places, and with very, very different levels of accuracy as well as updation, right? So the registry is complicated not just because it has to capture a system at a particular point of time, but has to continuously get updated as the DTs get divided or the feeders get, divided, or the consumers move from X to Y. So to build a good smart system for a DISCOM is a problem statement. I'm very surprised as to why a good product in this has not come yet. At the same time, there is a lot of new entities who are trying out these things. I think Rajasthan, they are trying out to map their infrastructure and to kind of so a system that is able to actually do network analysis and load balancing on actual live data. Gujarat, so this initiative also is a step in that direction. But moving forward, any good digital public infrastructure depends on standardization, and to have a bare bones structure on the basis of which innovations can happen, right? So one is innovations that happens on its own, and one is something that is slightly more guided and kind of a bare bones structure on top of which other multiple people build new and different products. So I think that is a conversation that I hope Ministry of Power and MNRE are able to figure out. But I feel that this is one of the untouched areas where we have not really taken it very seriously. I mean, smart metering is a great initiative, but I don't think it's looking at that problem statement in a very comprehensive manner, right? So there have been efforts made in terms of, let's say, digitization of DT level or metering of DT level, but metering is one part of it. This is a far more comprehensive exercise to have a clear understanding of the system, right? So more advanced countries have very developed systems even to the extent of actually managing their distributed energy resources at critical points. And rather than learning those lessons 5 years down the line, it is better for us to learn at this point of time because this has been tried out elsewhere. So I feel this is great. And to come to a question on innovations, again, our scheme had an eye on, so the whole intent has been to develop India's rooftop solar market, right? So to bring new products, to bring more differentiated products, and and not R&D, like, so our focus was not research and development. We wanted innovators and engineers and builders to come together and develop new products for the country. In that case, in that scenario, we also have an innovative projects component, which NICE is spearheading and implementing, which will be, and we are working closely with Startup India to also get our startups to get engaged and to solve key problem statements, right? So, and problem statements are many, right? So, so Nikhil spoke about EV charging through rooftop solar, right? So, how do we see vehicle to grid integration happening, right? So, for grid instability issues, we expect that we have to at some point of time start promoting battery storage at distributed level. But if there is battery storage at distributed level, how do you manage that load? How does a DISCOM basically manage that, or how does a consumer manage that automatically without really worrying about it too much, right? So there are very interesting problem statements. So building integrated PV, another amazing segment that is coming up, and we hope to see it prosper. So amazing and very diversified set of problems that we have. I think one of our key challenges is to make sure by using this, our scheme itself, and by working with key innovators in this segment, we hope that we will have good solutions or good products that get developed out of this initiative over the next couple of years. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for highlighting this importance of innovation. Most importantly, highlighting this need around the distribution infrastructure, because few days back we were again having a convening around our integration issues. And one thing which was commonly discussed was like we need to strengthen our infrastructure at distribution level. So thanks for highlighting that. Now I'll go to Velluri ji. You have already shared the success stories. Just wanted to basically request you if you could, if anything else you would like to talk, or any innovations around the business models which you have been kind of working on.
Generally, in government, so whenever we try to do something, the first objection that comes is, where is the fund for this? So that is how we worked on these business models. So in fact, so how to convince the DISCOM and government to get loan, because cheaper loan is available. For example, PM Kusum that we are doing, so we are doing through RIDF fund. So now whatever this green income scheme that we are trying to do is again NIDA clubbed with the ADB's SRIP, which has a clean technology fund component which comes at 0.5% rate of interest. So the overall, so the way I am convincing my finance secretary is that it is cheaper than what is your market borrowing. So the entire component works at around 7%. So whereas you are borrowing from open market at more than 8.59% rate of interest. So if we can work on the models, definitely the financial models are available. Coming to the innovations, again, so we have tied up with ISGF. Now our vehicle is here. So we are vehicle to grid. So that is, we are experimenting with that now. Then the battery again. So we have installed battery in our campus itself, and see so how we can offset the peak time load, and various studies, and whether we have a charging station also. So how we can use the battery for the charging station application also. Then again, open energy interface, we are working with Beacon. So the same thing, we integrate this peer-to-peer trading, because again, as we come from Kerala, people are so environmentally conscious, but the charging infra is not completely green because it is powered from the coal-fired stations. It's through the grid. So whether they can opt through this open energy interface, they can buy power from somebody generating solar in the morning and charge his vehicle so that he can feel that he is green. And third is we have solarized all government buildings in Trivandrum. So now it is around 510 government buildings, including schools and colleges. So now the idea is whether we can install DC charging stations in these government buildings, and maybe provide daytime free power for the auto rickshaws or the two-wheelers. Maybe a kind of destination charger again, but so whether we can do it in the morning time, so that so that people will show more interest towards EVs, purchase of EVs, since we have solarized all the government buildings. And so these are the few innovations, and already now the DISCOM also has asked the vendors to share the API for the monitoring. Even the 2 kilowatt, 3 kilowatt systems are not being monitored. So for weather, for the load forecasting and all, so that is being now, that has now started actually. So like that, this small innovation, because once you start doing something only, you will have problems, and then you can work on the problems. So initially itself, if we start telling that this is problem for the DISCOM, so then it is nothing will happen. So that is how. So now the problems are coming up, and so we will be addressing these problems.
So thanks a lot for sharing the complete journey of transformation, because if you recall, he started with challenges with utility scale plant, and land was one of the challenge, and he ended with a lot of innovations, lot of success stories around that. So probably this is the way to kind of move forward. Now I'll go to Balaji from PGVCL, and I think probably you can answer this question because you have seen that kind of penetration of rooftop. So what kind of challenges we anticipate, particularly when it comes to grid stability? So if you can highlight that and how we can tackle some of these challenges, that would be great.
So there are basically two effects on the grid. One is at local level and one is at centralized level. So in Gujarat, the rooftop, solar penetration is very high in all the areas. We have large scale solar plant, like 100 megawatt or gigawatt scale plant, also some 4 megawatt size captive and Kusum plants and rooftop plant. So overall voltage level in the grid, 66 kV substations we have, are reached to 67, 68 kV. So we are unable to, tap it down at the optimum level at every time, because nowadays we are facing intraday variations. So during morning and during evening peak, the voltage level is low, and at the peak summer time, in noon time, the voltage level is very high. So the inverters of the solar rooftops are not getting synchronized at some local areas, while the overall voltage level is very high. So at the one point in time, the consumers complain as this is my peak solar generation season, and I'm not synchronizing my inverter. So this particular issue will face more in this coming summer season, April, May, and June. So this is the challenge for us, because in Rajkot city, or it's Ahmedabad, Baroda, Surat, where the rooftop penetration is very high. So we are actually in last summer season we faced this situation, and this situation may be more worse in this summer season. So at centralized grid level, in PGVCL, my entire system is 8,000 megawatt roughly, and in 8,000 megawatts, 1,500 megawatts from the rooftop only. So it will affect my the total management, load management of the entire system, and in next 2-3 years, the total RE contribution in the grid will be more than 3 gigawatt. So it will be very difficult for me to forecast day ahead and to change the this demand curve. And also we are moving toward the daytime power supply to all agriculture consumers. So now scenario is totally changed. Before 5 years, we were actually giving the rebate to consumption during the night times. But now we are moving to giving rebate during the daytime. So so in this year, we propose our SERCs to give rebate of 45 paisa per unit when if they consume more power during the noon time. And we charge additional 45 paisa during morning peak and evening peaks. So this first time we introduce, and in future we have to introduce dynamic tariff also. But now this is the situation, and it will be, I mean, more difficult to handle in the next few years. But we have come out with the two solutions. One is at policy level and another is at technical level. So policy level, we are working with ISGF. ISGF is doing some pilot project. They have distributed electric cooking appliances to some 30 households. So based on the data collection, that if they switch on all the appliances during the peak noon time, and if our load is coming down and voltage level is coming down, then we can, even regulator, we can ask to give more concession during the noon time tariff. And second is technical side intervention. So we are also moving to the tape changing distribution transformer, but it is very difficult to have the tape changing at every point of time. So we are designing a small reactor. At present, every transmission system have reactor at their 400 kV substation or 220 kV substation, but they don't have the reactors at 11 kV system. So only the reactor will help you, to suppress or come down the voltage level of 11 kV system at the precise desired level. So we are doing pilot project on this.
Thanks a lot again for not only highlighting the challenges but also making some of the suggestions around solutions. Now I'll go to Prasanjit ji, and particularly what I wanted to request you to highlight some of the things around how do we kind of capture some of the data which is getting generated from this thing, and when we are doing that, how do we take care of some of the aspects related to cyber security into this? Yeah.
Thanks, sir. But yes, I am not specialized in cyber security. But yes, the DER will be helpful for us and also for the all DISCOM. And by smart inverter IEEE 1547, that will help all the DISCOMs to getting the generation data through a single monitoring window, and that will help for the load management also for a DISCOM. And in future might be the smart meters will help DISCOM, but yes, smart inverters maybe come up with a very fast manner through Government of India, because IS 18968 has been already passed in 2025. So if it isn't come with the PMSG guidelines right now, so it may be helpful for coming 1 year that all the DISCOM will benefited from this. Thank you.
Thanks a lot. Now I'll go to the Dr. Nikhil, probably for the last question. You highlighted in your conversation, you talked about some of the initiatives related to skilling, capacity building. I feel that is one of the important area where we need to kind of work on. So while we talk about kind of increasing number of vendors from 4 to 40 or some other number, but it is equally important to talk about capacitating some of these people. So what are the initiatives which are currently undergoing, and what are some of the challenges which you are facing in terms of when you go and do some of these activities? What kind of interventions we need to make so that we are able to really capacitate the stakeholders of the ecosystem?
Thank you, Amit again. So I think NICE has been involved in this training capacity building for a long time, and there has been various levels of trainings. It is like at the specific individual levels, those who are interested, or like to a certain group of people. We have trained DISCOMs, we have trained the MES, Military Engineering Service, because they themselves as a licensee, they are adopting a lot of solar, and they have a lot of queries, they put tendering and so. So fundamentally, one aspect is the user awareness. So to the user, there is a training requirement, is obviously there. Second, as we run a program scheme, Surimitra, so that is already happening, the curriculum is there, but only challenge will be like as the technology changes, we need to update the things in that. As the new things are coming, the smart inverter, smart things. So these things to be communicated back to these the users or the trainers, in fact. And so we carry out master training programs, master trainers. So that is one of the solutions we do. We have a recurring master trainer programs where we train a lot of master trainers. And apart from that, continuous learning is very important aspect when it comes to skilling. Now another thing is like we also collaborate with industry partners like the Renew or Azure Power because they are into a lot of installation developers. So they require a lot of manpower in the operation maintenance segment. So operation maintenance is another huge segment. As we say, installation is in the first year, but operation maintenance is in the next 20 years. So O&M is a segment which is having a good business also, and we need a good new age techniques to address the problems in the operation maintenance. So there are a lot of field testings involved. So those kind of a specialized trainings are a need of this particular hour. Additionally, as you are aware, a lot of manufacturing is happening in India now. We are also designing a new training programs for skilling people to get into manufacturing segment like module manufacturing as well as cell manufacturing. So, and recently we conducted a program for performance assessment of solar plants, how to do that so that new engineers can, with a basic degree, can learn these things and they can get jobs and as well as contribute to this sector. Challenges, of course, one thing as I mentioned, continuous learning is one important because transferring that knowledge dissemination is one aspect. Second challenge, in certain scenarios we can see even though there are good training programs happening, the listeners are not there sometimes. It is very difficult to bring everybody together to a single place. So I think moving nowadays everything is becoming digital. So moving to a kind of a hybrid self-learning, self-paced program, online plus offline mode would be a new way of seeing that, the training and the skill development. Major portion is through online and other through offline. Recently we are supporting UNICEF actually. We are supporting in solarization of healthcare facilities in India. So in that, one of the challenge what they face is that awareness to the facility owners. If you see a public health facility, the facility owners, it's a daughter basically, the medical officer in charge. So we were training them. So one of the thing we adopted is that to scale up, we created a mobile app for training these medical officers. We build a training content in the mobile app so that it is easily adopted and fast scaling up is also good in a more simpler way. So we need to switch on or use the technology in the best way to enhance that. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for talking about this awareness, capacity building, and then creating a skilled workforce through some of the skilling initiatives, which is very important. So we have already completed 2 rounds of discussions with our panelists. Now I'll open the floor for discussion, questions from audience. My only request to you would be when you are asking question, maybe you can briefly introduce yourself and try to keep your question precise so that we are able to answer the question. Yeah. Anyone?
Hello, my name is Akhil Gupta. I'm a professor at UCLA in Los Angeles. So my question to all of you is that as you are talking about the complexities of bringing distributed power into the grid, what role do you see for AI and AI systems to do that?
Sir, you would like to? Yeah.
No, AI can be helpful in say management of the grid, naturally the systems, demand assessment and forecasting. In the whole ecosystem it has a role, but ecosystem is very, very challenging and very diverse. So AI will not really, we can't say it's a panacea, it will have a role. So.
Thanks a lot, sir. Completely agree with you, sir. This is going to have a role, and there are several initiatives around this, particularly using AI for better forecasting. We had the discussions with the grid operators, and they are tying up with some of the local institutions in order to kind of strengthen that. Yeah, please.
Yeah, so I want to add, as sir mentioned, in forecasting, I think one of the application is on the forecasting AI. And apart from that, I think sir was mentioning about the peer-to-peer trading. So there are like multiple stakeholders in this entire game. So multiple stakeholder means multiple coordinations, multiple data points coming up. Both there is a financier or there is a RESCO player or there is a user. The energy data is there. So once there are a lot of data coming up, I think in the future, as I was earlier telling, there will be a time where I can sell my energy to some other through this platform. So that time this AI will be one of the greatest tool to facilitate that in the form of like blockchain and other aspects. Thank you.
Thanks, Dr. Nikhil. If there are no other questions, I'll request Alok sir for his key remarks on this
Thank you.
overall
I think
discussion.
I must congratulate all the panelists for bringing such extremely useful insights and what they think, how to go forward. And this has been a really very enriching discussion. So I'd like to make only few high-level comments. Like PM Kusum, the Surya Ghar is also a national program, and it has been launched after a lot of thinking. Power sector is only one of the stakeholders because it has benefits like PM Kusum, Annadata, increasing farmers' income. We're talking of the income to say benefits to low income households and all. So power sector has to see that how best it can implement and how best it can handle the consequences and implications. If you see, there are two states sitting with us, Kerala and Gujarat. Gujarat has, like his company has 5 gigawatt. 5 gigawatt. And what is the total rooftop capacity in the country?
5 gigawatt.
No, I think it's around 13 or so. No, 13 so. So they have almost 1/3. Kerala is one which has a land problem and this. So we must recognize that the economics will prevail and the program will take faster where it makes better economics, which I started in the beginning, which are located away from coal fields, where cost of power is high. That's why Gujarat colleague was saying it's very economically beneficial. If you want to promote these national programs all across this country, we'll have to have a very different set of incentives and support system. That is one big thing, because you see Kerala and Gujarat have come. Second thing is, my understanding is I still hold that it will have impact on tariffs, either positive or negative. So Gujarat and Kerala will be happy because their power procurement costs will come down. But so states will have to come on board with the government of India. They have to push this program because it has diverse objectives. To what extent they get support additionally? Because if you go out of this room, you will face the reality of the viability of DISCOMs and the cost reflect tariffs. Your all P2P, RTS will have to ride the vehicle of DISCOM. So DISCOMs finances, impact on tariff and DISCOMs capacity will be central to all these initiatives. So we have to take care of the impact on tariff, to what extent state government will support it. There are of course long-term advantages, as he says that in long-term technology will improve efficiency. And technology maybe it will need a long-term interest, but if we survive in short-term, then we reach the long-term. So short-term thing, looking at the free power and power sector subsidies, state governments will have to come a big way to see that tariffs are managed and DISCOMs are given support to upgrade their capacity in handling this diverse set of challenges. There are two important threads have come in the discussion. One is the more, say, advanced models and technologies to handle the grid management challenges. Some interventions like distribution system operator, they will be key. And on the other side, the technological improvement in terms of the smart inverters or panel efficiency or all, they will help if we deal with two main pillars, the systems for efficient and forward, say, most effective grid management and technological improvements will help to take this program forward. We must pay the attention in addition to DISCOMs capacities. The last point I will make, if we have to achieve the national policy, which Devanshu saw, that taking the benefits of energy transition to the low income households, It will travel beyond your economics and technology. It will need very innovative business models in how to handle the small ticket size of loan, the bankability of this household. Banks will have pressure. So while we devise models, we have to see the safeguards also. And my last point is this utility-led aggregation is very good concept. But we have to address two challenges. How will DISCOM maintain these rooftops in low-income households for 25 years? DISCOMs are struggling to maintain even the distribution transformers in their systems. So having the right type of incentives for those households and having the right type of capacities in the DISCOMs to maintain those rooftops for 25 years, because they are taking loan, not the household. It will need very innovative business model and very, very complex, very diverse set of incentives to make it work. It is required. So I'll say that it's a very good national program and everybody has to make it successful. We have to take help of technology, we have to take help of experts, distribution system operator, and also our business friends to how to devise the business models. It's very good. It has been a very enriching discussion. I close at it. Thanks a lot. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thanks a lot, sir. Thanks a lot for summarizing the overall discussion around this. Just before closing the session, in terms of some of the key findings from the session, although we started with challenges, but the good thing is that we discussed more of the success stories which can be replicated, because challenges are bound to happen, but it is important for us to kind of innovate and come up with some of the success stories. And last point I feel is, again, the scale at which we are aiming for, 2 or 3 things are very important. One is innovation. The second one is this piece around capacity building. And third, the most important thing is the collaborative interventions to bring in complementarity and convergence in our overall approach. So on that note, I would again like to thank my panelists for sharing their insights. Thanks to all of you for your patience listening. And with that, I'll close that session.
Also thank the wonderful moderator who has made it so useful, and you stated it very well. Thank you, Appa. Thank you.
So I would like to thank you all for the wonderful session, and I think we started 15 minutes late and we completed well on time. So this is called apt utilization of time and resources. So now I would like to call over Ms. Reena Suri, who is Executive Director, India Smart Grid Forum, for felicitating all our dignitaries. I request ma'am to please felicitate Alok Kumar sir. Thank you, sir. Now I request ma'am to felicitate Divyanshu Jha sir. Narendra sir. Thank you, sir. Nikhil sir. Thank you so much, sir, for coming. RJ Wala sir. Prosenjit Das sir, please. Thank you. And Amit Singh sir, and thank you so much, sir, for moderating it so well. Thank you so much, sir. Now I request everyone to please come over for group photograph.